to sell and get money in order to fund some of these activities. I had over 300 pigs. I had built on Groot Driehoek vlakte, I built a pig shed or piggery that is 40 meters by 15 meters, 40 meters long, 15 meters wide, shed out of bricks with each chamber. Each has a chamber with some cages for the pigs to lay, so that they don't lie the small ones there. So I had that was quite significant, and I had to, when I needed some cash, you always tell, you see how it works. On your cat, on your chickens, you get every 6 weeks, you get income. Your pigs, three months, 3 weeks, and 3 days, you get offsprings. And then one pig delivers sometimes between 8 and 12 piglets. So then you get income again. Your goats and your sheep, every 6 months, you get income. Your cattle, every 12 to 15 months, depending on what size you sell. So you have constant income, and mostly if you supply to the informal markets, then you have constant cash flow coming in. Some of those cash flow you buy feed for the pigs and the animals. Some you buy equipment and things like that, and the others goes to the bank. So that is how you work, because there's always an underestimation that if you don't have a formal job, you cannot make or earn money.
But Mr. Willemse, if you receive cash, why bank? Because no one knows how much you get.
Yeah, but who wants to sit with a lot of cash and tomorrow it's gone or you get robbed or what? You put it in a bank because you want to improve your credit worthiness as well. And as well to declare it, because if I could have hid all the cash that I have earned, but why put it in a bank? Because it's not fraudulent, it's not stolen money. And I rather declare it and fight with NAMRA than put it under the bed. But if that is a crime, then most of the informal traders need to refrain from banking cash. If that is linked or inferred to as proceeds of crime.
You didn't speak about your cattle.
Yes.
How many you have?
At some stage I had over close to 350 cattle. And I even recall that when I was arrested by the ACC, one officer made a joke, other than the other jokes they made about my social media profile. Where are you going to make the ruris and whatever again, and laughing. They even asked me, where's your 287 cattle? So they knew exactly I had 287, and unfortunately I wanted to produce a herd statement to this court, Your Worship. But it's also on the laptop. I sent, as part of my documents that I sent to Agribank to obtain a loan, I had to provide evidence of my livestock. Agribank sent people out there to go and count. That herd statement I mailed to Agribank prior to them going out and verify, to know, and that cattle was worth over 4 million already that I had on my various farms. So this was when they wanted to go and check to give me the loan. That was in February, March 2024, Your Worship. So, and I've been farming since the 2010 already. So now people thought that when I joined NAMCOR, all my livestock died. Everything went, and I started from scratch because I didn't have a life before NAMCOR, and people always say, why do you resign? It's not my first time I resigned from NAMCOR. Because I will have a life after NAMCOR, because I never bought my experience and my qualification. I didn't buy it to not have a life. But people think when you work for NAMCOR, it's like heaven. It's not. And that's why people never resign from those type of companies, because they don't believe in themselves, unlike me.
Now, do you have access to all your bank accounts?
No.
How do you access your bank account?
Through the internet, I cannot access it, and this is one of the things I've been pleading with the ACC to say, I just want to see, have visibility at least, so that my debit orders, my policies, insurance policies for life cover, that I paid for more than 20 years. Since I was 20, I started working at the age of 20.
Yes.
I've been paying those, it will probably risk lapsing. All those things, because of somebody's trying to make inferences of money flow.
Now, these policies you're referring to, how much do you spend more or less on it?
The policies, my policy is probably around, I'm not talking about short-term insurances, I think around close to 20,000 a month.
And the insurance on movable properties?
Around 17,000. I have asked my sister, who's also a broker, to see what she can do in terms of taking some of the stuff off. Because unfortunately, by being in detention, I'm being so prejudiced that I need to now see what can be done in terms of, because unfortunately, I'm the only earner. I can only rely on myself.
Right, Mr. Willemse, you are charged with other accused persons in this trial, in this trial, correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Let me ask you, what is your relationship with, I believe it's accused one, Emmanuel Malunga?
I know Emmanuel Malunga since I joined NAMCOR for the first time. I think I started with NAMCOR in 2008. I started working, I at first didn't know him, but then he was the NAMCOR Trading Board chairperson at that time. And sometimes when asked to present to the board, that's where I knew of him. We were never friends, we always had a professional relationship. We only got close after I started working for NAMCOR, a little bit closer than actually from 2020 and substantial. Even when I was a consultant, we don't really engage socially, but on a professional platform, but the relationship developed.
Mr. Willemse, I also observe when you testify and you're in a kind of a hurry, your sentences end mid-air.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
just take your time. It's your verification. We want the court to hear as much as possible. So, how do you know Jennifer Amukwaya?
I cannot 100% sure when, but we met when I joined NAMCOR as a consultant.
What's your relationship with Ms. Amukwaya?
Just purely professional. We don't even socialize after work or things like that. We just know each other from a professional point of view.
Olivia Dunaiski.
Basically the same. Also, I think I met her later because she joined at a later stage, NAMCOR, but I think I was still a project or consultant for NAMCOR. Because first I was just focusing on projects, and then the consultancy developed into other areas due to my expertise, and I met her later. And similar to Amukwaya, I only have a professional relationship with her.
Victor Malima?
The first time I met Mr. Malima is, I think during 2021, when they were dealing with NAMCOR with eco fuel investments. I was still a consultant at the time, and we met in the corridors. People introduced us, and that's where it ended. And then in 2022, I met him again. Because, Your Worship, as I explained, I don't deal with customers at NAMCOR. Customers is part of the same, as I explained, the two functions of the downstream department is sales and marketing and supply and logistics. So my role was focusing, there was no customer involvement or customer engagement. So the first time I met him was just at NAMCOR offices, and then somewhere in 2022, I think it was April, we ran into each other again.
Now, you testified that you don't deal with customers. Customers such as, who are the customers? In this case, we know it's Irongo Petroleum.
Irongo Petroleum, Enercon, and any other customers. Those are one of the commercial customers. retail customers, the service station owners, marine customers, fishing companies. Those are the customers that NAMCOR, that has gotten accounts with NAMCOR, or some of them by cash. And I don't deal with those customers. I don't even know most of those customers.
And do you know Peter and Malakia Ilindi?
I also met them somewhere in 2021, but just briefly, but never interacted with them. No on a professional, no on a personal relationship. Because on professional, it's just meet and greet. I never sat down with them in formal meetings, nothing, because they are customers to NAMCOR and it's not within my portfolio.
They were the owners of?
NAMCOR at the time.
Now, as far as I understand the case of the state, it has to do with basically two areas of interest. One would be the increment or the increase of credit limit beyond the credit limit. And number two deals with the acquisition of a certain asset.
Correct.
Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Worship.
Right. So all your charges stem from these transactions, so to speak. Correct,
Your Worship.
Now, let's talk about the credit committee. Your Worship, I will deal, the reason why I'm dealing with the credit committee is it has close ties with count 10, 11, alternative to 11, count 13, count 14, and count 15. I will also then mostly use, I'm still using bundle 1. So, what is the credit committee?
The credit committee is a committee established.
Sorry, Your Worship. I thought bundle 1, but it seems to me that I've just checked my notes. It's also bundle, first bundle. That I'll be using in terms of the credit committee reference. But I will direct the court to specific pages of the bundles.
You may proceed.
Yeah, so the question was, who is the credit committee?
The credit committee is a committee that is established by the NAMCOR as part of the policy, the credit policy, to look into, to set credit limits and look into ad hoc requests of customers asking to increase credit, and also, yeah, it's a wide range, so it's probably wise to go to the credit policy.
Yeah, Mr. Willemse, you are picking up speed.
Okay.
I myself is also a fast speaker, but I'm trying to slow me down myself. So just a little bit slower. So let me take you to page 147 of the first bundle.
I'm there.
I will mostly deal with the first bundle. The court can just keep it close. Is Court with us? Thank you. Go to page 147, Mr. Willemse. What is that?
This is the credit policy of the National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia.
It goes up to page 158, correct? If you can just go to page 158.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Underneath you'll see it's page 1 of 13, and on page 158 it's 13 of 13.
That's correct, Your
Would
Worship.
that be the sum total of this policy?
Correct, Your Worship.
All right. If you look at page 153, can you tell us what is the composition of this credit committee? Maybe just before we go there, the credit committee falls under which company? Let us not lose sight of.
The credit policy, you see, mostly all policy falls under the holding company, but it's also used in the subsidiary companies. We have
Okay.
one policy that guides and it's defined in the schedule of authorities, that the policies is for the subsidiary companies as well.
Who approved this policy?
This policy, if you look at 147, was approved by the board chairperson at the time, Mr. Engelhard Kongoro, on the 14th of 2019.
Oh, it's not approved by Mr. Malunga.
No, it's not.
Oh, I see. Can we just go back to page 147? Sorry, not 153. I apologize, Your Worship. Can you tell the court what is the board composed of?
The
Or who are they composed of?
In clause 6 of that, on that page 153, composition of the credit committee.
All right. Can you just read them, please?
The company shall have a credit committee which is made up of the executive finance and administration, which is also the chairperson of this committee, the executive downstream supply and logistics, the executive corporate governance, finance manager downstream, the commercial manager, financial accountant, accounts receivable.
Okay. And when the reference to the company, to which company is it referring to?
To NAMCOR Trading, because
NAMCOR
this
Trading.
policy specific deals with activities of the trading company.
Okay. Now, executive finance administration, who's that?
That is,
At the time,
this
sorry,
is Ms. Jennifer.
Sorry, Mr. Williamson. Let me give you the time frame. July 2022 to December 2022.
Was Ms. Jennifer Amukwaya, who was also accused number 3 in the other court.
The last part, you have.
Who is also accused number 3.
All right.
Yeah,
Executive downstream supply and logistics.
that would be me.
Executive corporate governance. Who's that?
That would be also the head of legal, as well as the company secretary, Ms. Damolin Morocco.
Just repeat the name, please.
Damolin Morocco.
Is she an accused?
No,
Any point?
no, she's not.
Okay. Executive, I'm sorry, finance manager downstream.
That would be Mr. Petrus Iniku.
One of the accused.
No, it's not.
Commercial manager.
That would be Ms. Olivia Dunaiski, accused number 4.
And the financial accounts receivable.
That would be Mr. Peter Sivambu.
Also an accused, I assume.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. Now, what are the powers, or how does the committee determine, or what does the committee determine?
If I could direct the court to the roles and responsibility 5.1 in this policy, if I may read that into the record.
Yes. Just read slowly so we can get it properly on record, please.
Design and maintenance of the NAMCOR credit management processes rests with the executive finance and administration, NAMCOR credit committee team, and executive downstream supply and logistics, which are accountable for the end-to-end credit management process and act as process owners for credit. They have a reporting line into the managing director, downstream supply and logistics, and finance and administration executives. If I may, Your Worship, it is very, and I want to highlight one point. If you look at that 5.1, it highlights the executive finance and administration. Then it highlights the NAMCOR credit committee, which I have just explained the composition of the credit committee. Then in addition to that, it refers to the executive downstream supply and logistics. Now, Your Worship, if you look at that, the credit committee, which myself is included, plus I'm also mentioned separately again, because there's a different role. You have a role as being part of the credit committee, but then there's a different role as well, which is highlighted in the last sentence. They have The credit committee, which is they have a reporting line into the managing director, the downstream supply and logistics, and the finance, which means this credit committee compilation has a responsibility. Part of the responsibility is myself, to report into myself. So I'm part of this committee, but this committee also reports to myself, the MD, and the managing director, the finance and administration executive, which tells you that the powers granted to myself and the finance and administration executive and the managing director, as over and above, once the credit committee made a decision, has still powers to give input or further recommend any or disapprove any application of credit. So it's not just that the credit committee, when they say no, it's no. There's a line above, and then the MD is the final approver of this credit.
So there are 3 tiers. One is the committee, then executive finance and logistics, and then MD.
Correct.
Okay. Now, let me give you an example. The credit committee says Irongo gets a increment of the credit to 50 million. The two of you, that's the second tier, decide, no, you rejected offer. Can the MD still say he rejected your decision and make the decision?
Yes, the MD is the ultimate decision maker when it comes to this policy, because the power invested in him by the board of the directors through the schedule of authorities gives him the authority to also decide whether he goes with the decision of the second tier or not.
All right. So what does the committee do?
The committee assesses. The first line is the committee assess credit limits for new customers. And that is the baseline when they start trading with NAMCOR. Then the committee has additional, sometimes, Your Worship, when you started a business and you sell 1 bottle of water, and the business tomorrow sells 2 bottles of water. So when you started, we give you credit to buy 1 bottle of water. Now your business evolves, and if your business evolves, so does NAMCOR's business also evolves. Then you start buying now 5 bottles. Now you come to NAMCOR and say, NAMCOR Trading, we want our credit limit to be relooked or reassessed, because I'm now selling 5 bottles. And then that needs to be taken in consideration whether we approve your 5 bottles of water or no, sorry, you remain at 1 bottle of water, or you need to give guarantees, or you do not. It all depends, and as we go into the detail of the credit committee, it will become clear what is allowed and what is not allowed.
So the words approve and recommend is thrown around. Does the committee, that's my question, does it approve? What does it do?
The committee only recommends.
And the 2 executives?
The 2 executives further recommend for approval. Because if you look at 5.7, Your Worship, where it says credit applications up to 500,000 Namibian dollars, reviewed by the credit committee and recommended for approval by the executive finance and administration and executive downstream supply and logistics. So which means the credit committee will deal every application less than 500,000. It's automatic. The credit committee will deal with it. It ends there. Any credit application above 500,000 will be reviewed by the credit committee. And then after the review, it will be recommended for approval. So the recommended for approval will lie with the 2 executives as per this policy, the powers given by this policy to the managing director of the trading company.
Right. So the managing director, when it comes to 500, under 500,
He doesn't get in.
he doesn't get involved. Only after 500.
After
Then
500.
the buck stop with him.
Yes,
Do I understand you like that?
correct.
Now,
Before you proceed with the results, you're saying that the committee assesses the credit limits for new customers,
And existing customers, Your Worship.
and the committee has additional, what you look at an additional one.
Additional powers to further recommend. Sorry, Your Worship.
I see the word used in the policy that the power of the committee, it says review.
Review, correct.
Is it correct?
That's the committee, yes.
Yes. Now, you just explained to the court that there are some considerations that the committee takes, some factors the committee takes in consideration. One of which it appears that you're saying that you used the word evolve. What are these factors taken into account when credit is reviewed?
Your Worship, if I can refer on the policy to page 154.
Just a moment. Yes.
Page 154, the second sentence. Under customers account on.
You mean clause 8?
Clause 8, yes.
Okay. The second sentence.
The second sentence. It starts with a risk-based approach.
Yes.
And then it ends, and then there's a sentence, the second one.
Yes, can you read it?
Each application will be assessed on its own merit, and the credit limit will be approved based on the credit assessment. That's one.
Just a moment. Let me give you a proposition. If you sign on a new client, and the limit is then set for argument's sake 10 million.
Yeah.
Does it mean that from day one, next month or 6 months after that or a year after that, you will only have 10 million as credit?
No, it doesn't mean that.
Okay.
Then, if I can continue.
Yes, please.
Then the second paragraph, and which is very important. Credit limits are important and can be, and I want to put emphasis on this, and it can be difficult to establish, difficult in a manner which is consistent with the potential risk. The potential risk, I'm deliberately highlighting that. Potential risk inherent in an account.
What is a potential risk?
It's the risk of default.
Okay.
Then, financial information can provide important insights into the potential risk and the customer's ability to pay. So at the time when you assess a client, you take into account his ability to pay.
Okay. Is that one factor?
That's one factor. Then we continue. Then it says, however, in some instances, it may be impractical to obtain reliable financial information from the customer. Grow as a company supplying him, NAMCOR trading will not grow. And then it goes further.
Just pause there. I don't understand. When you say the customer grow, how does NAMCOR grow? NAMCOR trading grow?
When a customer when he starts selling 1 million, and now he got a tender for 3 million liters in addition to his 1 million, he grows his business. So his offtake increase, his fuel requirement increase. So he buys more from NAMCOR. NAMCOR sells more product to him, makes more margin.
Okay.
Then it also says, however, in some instances, it may be impractical to obtain reliable financial information from the customer. Sometimes decisions, Your Worship, must be based on subjective factors, or I've mentioned it. Then it goes on that a credit limit that is appropriate can vary depending on the following, Your Worship: profitability of this customer, financial position of this customer, and operating ratios, time in business, how long this customer has been trading, payment record, how is he conducting his account? And this is very important, how is he conducting in his account? Economic circumstances and other factors. In all circumstances, it is important to understand, number one, the liquidity of this customer.
What is liquidity?
Liquidity is his ability to pay.
Okay.
He's got money. He's got access to money and he can pay. Solvency, he's not insolvent, he is trading.
Okay.
And efficiency of the customer. How is his payment coming in? How efficient is it when he needs to pay? So these are factors, Your Worship, that once you as an executive have to look at these factors, then you need to take these factors into consideration. And, Your Worship, subjective factors. It sometimes is on your discretion. The policy allows that. If the policy didn't allow that, then you shouldn't have approved such a policy. Mm-hmm. You give yourself a tool and your team a tool, and now you want to say when he's using the tool, it's wrong.
Right. I understand the role of the credit committee. What I want to understand is that if the board approved the tool that you are referring to, how are they involved in setting credit limits, increased credit limits, or anything to do with credit limits? Because they are the very same body that approved the credit limit.
The board, Your Worship, doesn't get involved in the policy decisions. The board doesn't get involved in operational matters. And if we look at the schedule of authority, if we can move there, I want to read
Page 109.
$110.
Yeah, 109 is the name.
Oh, okay.
Which page you want us to go?
I think it's 116.
First of
Paragraph,
all, before we start there, who approved this policy?
the Board of Directors.
Okay. Which page you want the court to refer to?
116,
116.
paragraph 2. To answer your question is, Your Worship, the schedule of authority should reduce the amount of detailed decision-making required of the Board of Directors, enabling the Board of Directors to focus on strategic policy issues, major matters of substance and significance on maintaining oversight of its activities while devolving the day-to-day, Your Worship, decision-making to the executive management and other staff employed by NAMCOR. The day-to-day operational decisions, which includes the credit policy, is left to the executive management of NAMCOR Trading. So the board, to answer the question, Your Worship, the board does not get involved in the credit committee or the credit policy.
All right. I want to refer you to page 156, capital A.
156.
Are you there?
Yeah, I just want, if your worship would allow, if you
Okay.
can also deal with 155, 11,
Sorry.
paragraph 11.
155, paragraph 11. Okay.
Which is risk categories. The second paragraph, your worship.
Just hang on. You said 155.
155.
Is it still in the first bundle, ne?
It's in
Bundle 1.
Bundle 1, yes.
Okay.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Worship. Yes.
Okay, let me, if I may read this into the record. As a result of the data analysis, all customers must be mapped to the NAMCOR risk categories defined below. The risk category must solely be influenced by the customer's credit worthiness. Solely influenced by the customer's credit worthiness. So when we look at the customers under question in this court, we need to remember the customer's credit worthiness. Secondly, and this is very important, and not by criteria such as NAMCOR margin, customer banding, level of securities, your worship, etc. The ultimate decision on a customer risk category lies with the credit committee. No board, nothing. It's the credit committee. Then you will see there's categories like risk category A.
Yes.
And risk category A tells you low risk, commonly assigned to companies with a strong financial performance and where good references has been made. Customers in this category have a low probability of default.
Let's just pause there.
Okay.
We know that the companies under question is Irongo, Petroleum and NAMCOR.
Correct.
In which category do they fall?
In risk category A.
Why would you say? Let's start with NAMCOR.
NAMCOR because, and this is prior to me joining substantively.
Yes.
I wasn't part of the credit committee prior to June 2022. I had no involvement with the credit committee.
Okay. When you say prior, meaning?
Because
what?
these customers joined NAMCOR earlier.
Earlier than you.
Earlier than me being part of the credit committee.
Oh, I see.
So I wasn't part of this, but they were listed as on category A.
I see.
Because of, at the time they were rated as have a good financial performance, there was good references, and they have a low probability of default.
Okay.
So when I came in board, this was already established.
Okay.
So this is what I just wanted to highlight. When we go further into details of this customers that is under question, then we just need to be reminded that they were already scored or categorized.
Before you joined the credit
Before
committee.
I joined the credit.
So there was no conspiracy at that point.
Yes, there was none. Then
Now,
we,
sorry?
Huh? Okay, then we
No,
can.
no, you want to do say
No,
something?
then we can move
Mr.
to 156 as you
Oh, okay.
directed.
So 156, it deals with, 156A, my apologies, deals with credit limit.
Yes. Yes, Your Worship.
Just hang on. Uh, 156A, capital A. Can we proceed, Your Worship?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, take us to paragraph or clause, let's call it clause 13, deals with credit limit.
Okay.
That clause specifically deal with, what does this clause deal with rather? Let me not test it.
It deals with a credit limit,
Mhm.
and especially what is of importance is 13.2 and 13.3.
What does it say?
13.2 says the credit limit demand has to be calculated based on the customer's requirements as well as the financial capability and outcome of the assessment. To ensure operational excellence and support business growth, and this is important, business growth. I just referred to previously that, well, when the customer grows, in terms of their demand and their requirement, NAMCOR trading also grows.
I see.
You understand? So then, this is one of the factors that you need to consider, which tells you it's not just a cast in stone policy, as what is alluded to.
Meaning, once a credit is set, limit is set, that's the end of it.
That's not the end of it.
Okay.
Because a customer evolves, his business evolves. Otherwise, you grow.
All right.
And the second one is seasonal peaks. So seasonal peaks means there's sometimes what we call in the industry peaks and valleys. So December is a peak period where people drive. January, partially when people come back. Then it's a slow period again, which is a valley. Then when it comes to Easter, it peaks again. So when it comes to a customer, his requirement for fuel varies during seasonal peaks.
I see.
And so will his offtake or his credit limit requirement will become more, his demand will become more during those periods. And then also potential oil price or tax increases should be taken into consideration, particularly for customers with strong credit worthiness. And I need to explain, to give the context. When we talk about potential oil price increases, so when there is every month, we as a Namibian country works on a basic fuel price which is determined monthly by the Minister of Mines and Energy and public in the Gazette. It's announced every month.
Yes.
And sometimes it increases and sometimes it decreases. So sometimes when customers knows it's going to increase, they fill up their tanks. They take maximum advantage of the increase, because once it increases, they sell that fuel that they bought at a lower price. When the increase is affected, they sell it at the higher price. That's why when you see a price increase is happening, you go the previous night, before 12, you'll see service stations, cars piling.
Flooding.
That is the reason. That's one of the reasons. The second reason is when the Russian-Ukraine war started, market went into haywire. Prices of fuel escalated from $14 a liter, 13 to about $20, $21 a liter. Imagine $6 a liter more. So customers would increase. So now, Your Worship, a fuel tanker, I assume the court has seen a fuel tanker that those tanks with the trucks driving with a big tank.
Oh yes, is that a
It
tanker?
takes 40,000 liters of petrol.
Yes.
Now that truck cost, in normal circumstances, cost around 500, 600,000 liters. Rands, Namibian dollars. When the fuel price increased due to the Russian-Ukraine war, that same truck cost the dealers and the customers 800,000 liters. Remember, the margin of this customer remained the same. He still takes his $1.50 or $1.30 at the time when the Russian-Ukraine war was there. Still takes the same margin, but he has to invest 800,000 to make the same money, while he used to invest 500,000 to make the same money. So these things, the credit committee and the executives needs to have an holistic view. Also, to when a customer comes and asks for a credit increase and taken in consideration is growth, taking these factors into consideration. Then you have to take that into consideration as well.
I see.
The same customers approached the Minister of Mines and Energy at that time. And the Minister of Mines at the end, after a lot of deliberations, increased their profit margin. Why did he do that? Because he recognized that now the dealers and fuel customers and retailers is out of pocket. So he increased that.
So, if I understand you correctly, that credit limits doesn't stay fixed.
Correct.
All you have all these factors that you mentioned that can either increase or decrease your credit.
Correct.
Now, take us through a process. If NAMCOR wants to increase the limit,
Yes.
which was previously set when they, I think you used to it when he was boarded,
Yes.
brought on board.
On board.
Yeah. So, how will the process start?
Okay. Your Worship, what it does is the sales and marketing team, who's the custodian of each and every customer that deals with NAMCOR. There's many ways a customer can be onboarded. In terms or number one, a customer would approach NAMCOR and say, I want you to supply me fuel.
Sorry, Mr. Williamson, I'm asking is, you are already boarded.
Oh,
So there's no increase.
Okay.
Otherwise we could have
If
been,
you already boarded, what we call in the sales and marketing team, there's the commercial manager. There's under the commercial manager, there's territory managers. Managers responsible for the various customers' accounts.
Yes.
So what the customer does, he writes a letter or a proposal or email to his territory manager
Okay.
to say, I have this requirement and I would like to apply for an increase, for a credit limit increase, to the territory manager. Remember, this policy also, if we go back, says who is also responsible for debt collection. It highlights that the sales and marketing department is responsible for debt collection in conjunction with the finance department, not supply and logistics. So you must remember that this territory manager, who is responsible for the account, is also the debt collector. So he comes with the customer comes with a proposal to him for a credit limit increase. This territory manager will review it on his own, and then he will further send it to his commercial manager or retail manager, depending on which category, which segment in the business unit it falls. That commercial manager will discuss it with the executive sales and marketing, who will then forward this with their recommendation on top to the credit committee for consideration for approval. So once it comes to the credit committee, it gets reviewed. That is what the credit committee is there, to review and to make recommendations. It will be reviewed. Now the person that comes, it comes from the person or the executive or the manager that is responsible for this account. That manager knows this customer best because he builds a relationship with the customer. He knows the customer. When it's just a pity, I cannot go into too details, but he's overall responsible for this customer. He comes to you and says, I support this application for credit increase. Now the credit committee needs to review this. And the powers invested in the credit committee, as well as the executive supply and logistics and finance administration, will look into this. Now, Your Worship, subjective factors needs to be taken in consideration, in conjunction with growth and all of those factors. Will then take a decision on this. And then sometimes, Your Worship, unfortunate, I have to say it, that sometimes when you have middle managers or senior managers, some senior managers, will not take the holistic view. That's why the executive management is there. That's why there's two executives also. Because you sometimes have to, or three executives in there, sometimes they have to look at the holistic view as well. You cannot just look from a financial perspective and say no, or whatever perspective that is in your domain and says no. That's why you need to have the executives as a bird's eye view of what is happening, because they look at different factors as well. So sometimes it happens that the credit committee would say no, it might not work. But then when you apply a holistic view in terms of what is happening, then the executives might have a different view, which is allowed in terms of this policy. Just for example,
Mr.
Is in essence, the court understands it. How does it tie into the charges that the accused person is facing?
There's a charge there that says that they increase the credit limit without having authority to do so.
So is he still going to delve into that, or is this an explanation?
The idea of what the credit policy is and what the roles are.
Okay.
Because the state will come up and say that they didn't do their job as they're supposed to do. So I just want the court to have an understanding as what the roles are in terms of the policy. We will, I'm sure my learned friend will also refer to this policy many, many times in his evidence in chief by the chief investigator in NAMCOR. But I thought it's important for the court to just have an idea as to how the policy works. Because it also it also has an impact on the fact that the state, remember the state claims they have a strong case. And they base the claim on the accused person not following procedure. And one of those procedures that the accused did not follow is this credit policy, lies central on 5 of these charges. But I'll try to give walk through as fast as I can. I know it seems sometimes tedious to listen to all these clauses, but I think it's important that the court has an idea.
You may proceed. I was just of the understanding that some of the examples are dragging on, and
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Willemse, do you understand the court's concern?
Yes.
Let's try to keep it crisp, as they say in English.
Okay.
All right. So we know now. So it seems to me if I listen correctly, there's a manager, territory manager, that the customer approach. The second check and balance is the commercial manager or the retail manager.
Correct.
The third check and balance is the committee members.
Correct.
The fourth check and balance are the 2 executives.
Correct.
And the 5th check and balance is the MD.
Correct.
We have established that this is for only of fuel increases, or rather credit limits above 500,000.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's get into the issue of the asset acquisition.
If I can just finish this one on
Oh, sorry.
13.3.
Okay.
It says every customer must be assigned a credit limit taking into account the following: customer requirements based on anticipated volumes, including peak purchasing periods, prices and other trading terms. And secondly, the risk category or creditworthiness. And we can end with the credit policy, because once we go into the charges, we can then refer to why decisions was made.
Okay. Now, when you joined, you previously indicated when you joined the committee, you said NAMCOR.
Sorry, Your Worship, I just remember one last thing, which is very critical as well, when it comes to the charges, and it's on the schedule of authority. If we can go back there, there's one area in the schedule of authority.
That will be under 109, Your Worship.
Yeah, but it's specifically to page 143, Your Worship.
It was 143.
Yes. The schedule of authority is correct, but the page I want to refer to, under the schedule of authority.
Oh, okay.
And it's clause 7.2. Reporting breach.
Okay.
Now 7.2.2, I just want to highlight this suspected breach of a serious nature shall be reported directly to the managing director and the executive corporate governance. Now the court will recall that in the credit committee, one of the credit committee composition, one of the members is executive corporate governance. And once we go to these charges, where I recall a statement saying the credit committee members have provided statements to the investigating officer. Then we will deal with why was this from 2022 until the investigation, nothing was reported by the same person responsible for governance in this matter. If there was a breach, if there was irregularity, if there was executives acting on their own. And remember, I also mentioned that this executive is also a company secretary who has access to the board on a quarterly basis.
You mean the executive corporate governance?
Yes.
All right.
So I just want that to be taken into account when there is a statement that people or members, NAMCOR members will have provided statements 2 years or a year after the fact, and now suddenly claims there was irregularities.
So they sit, when there's a problem with the regularity of the committee or the credit committee, the very same person that can report is sitting in the committee.
Correct. And that is, I want to clarify that. So when we get there and to these charges, to say that a person, and sometimes in this, I will also testify that sometimes you sit in a committee setup and people remain quiet. People doesn't air their views. And then it's up to the executive sometimes to make decisions. But people forget, if you say nothing, it doesn't mean, no action doesn't mean, if you don't voice your concern, it doesn't mean everybody should now not agree. Or if you abstain, you are still bound by the collectiveness of the committee.
How many times the credit board meet?
Normally meets once a month. If possible, if people are not traveling, then round robin proposals are being looked at.
Explain round robin.
Round robin is when, say, a credit committee cannot meet, or all the members are not available, then an email will be sent by the territory manager or the commercial manager with the customer's proposal to all of the credit committee members. Then it needs to be discussed, and each one can air their views. Because it's also critical, because if a customer is standing dry, and dry means without fuel, and in order to protect NAMCOR's brand, you sometimes need to have swift decision making. And if nobody answers, then it's sometimes up to the executives to make a decision to yes or no to serve their customer, not to negatively impact him. And these are the dynamics and the complexness of the fuel industry, which was asked to the ACC, do they have experience in investigating these complex matters or the fuel industry? And they say no.
Count 11.
Sorry, before you proceed, can we adjourn for 10 minutes? There's something I need to do.
Of course.
If we will resume in 10 minutes.
Escort, please.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Worship. Worship, just maybe before we proceed, I just quickly want to deal with credit guarantee, and then I made a suggestion to my little colleague that seeing that I'm going to a new area, which is the acquisition of the asset in respect of count 11B, alternative to count 11, count 12, and count 13, and alternative count 13 and 16, and we deal with that tomorrow. It's been a long day. A lot of information needs to be processed. If there is, if the court is so inclined, if you can do that.
That is in order with the court.
Thank you.
Okay. You may proceed then.
Mr. Willems, when a client is given credit, does he need to have a credit guarantee? I want you to specifically deal with NAMCOR.
Okay. It depends as per the credit, Your Worship, as per the credit policy. Credit guarantee or a guarantee is normally preferred because that gives assurance that you have, in the event of a default, you can call on that guarantee. However, as you evolve and the customer grow, it can be waived, or other means can also be considered in terms of an insurance guarantee, or just sometimes the client's financial profile in terms of ability to pay, and those things also play a record. So it's not an ultimate yes or no answer. It can varies depending on the circumstances of a customer.
Now with NAMCOR, did NAMCOR have an agreement with any other entity to supply fuel?
No, not that I'm aware of. As I mentioned, at the time I joined the credit committee, and my portfolio was not to deal with customers. So I wouldn't be able to answer that question, but I presumed that they didn't because of the fuel supply agreement they signed in 16 March 2022, which which was coupled with the asset purchase agreement, which gives exclusivity to NAMCOR. So I presume that they didn't have any other suppliers at that time.
All right. Which customer did NAMCOR supply?
The Ministry of Defence and Veterans Affairs. However, they also supplied NWR, the Namibian Wildlife Resorts.
All right. This fuel agreement that you referred to was between NAMCOR Trading and
NAMCOR. Yes, correct.
Right.
Two
Now,
private entities.
Private entities, okay. And how does it work in terms of, we know that when it comes to government institutions, they work on order.
Yes.
How did it work as far as you know? I know you're not in sales and marketing, but do you know?
Your Worship, some of the considerations, especially when it comes to NAMCOR, was the fact that they get a government purchase order. And all of us knows that the government purchase order can act as a guarantee, because once the purchase order is issued, the money is blocked for that specific purpose in the system of the Ministry of Finance, which means once a customer calls upon, after delivery, calls upon that guarantee, payment are made. That's how the government purchase order works.
All right. NAMCOR, what was the NAMCOR's credit limit that they started with, or when you arrived?
Your Worship, when I arrived, I think the credit limit of NAMCOR was 15.5 million.
How does it work if NAMCOR buys for 15.5 million, say for instance in August?
Yes.
When is that amount due? And when is it due and payable?
Your Worship, the credit agreements that are being signed by NAMCOR Trading and the respective customer, it's on 30 days after statement. And I just want to, in order to give the court some context, Your Worship, 30 days after statement means if you traded from 1st of August and you buy fuel up to 30th of August, you will then, you get an invoice with every sale. But at the end of August, beginning September, you will get a statement. And the payment is due 30 days after the statement.
Okay.
So which means, effectively, they need to pay in 60 days.
All right. Now, what will happen if NAMCOR buys for 15.5 million worth of fuel, obviously on credit? When we say buy, we obviously mean on credit, because they have a credit line with NAM Trading. Where will they get the fuel come 1st September if they already bought for August 15.5 million, meaning they've reached their credit limit, so to speak?
Your Worship, to explain, if the customer, and if we refer as what I've picked up also now in the previous accused bail application, that the contract with Ministry of Defence and NAMCOR was for 700,000 to 1 million litres per month, which is about 12 million per annum. So the credit limit, if you look at that point in time in 2022, when the fuel price was around about $12 to $14 per litre, 750 litres or 700,000 litres will give you round about 12-13 million litre credit, or it will cost around about that. So which basically deplete your credit in the first month. However, there was, as also testified by accused number 3, the Executive Finance and Administration who dealt with these matters, she reported to the board that the system has an anomaly. Although the credit limit in the system is set at 15.5, but in your first month you deplete the 15.5 million credit limit, for example. Now your second month, then at that point in time the payment is not due, but the customer needed another a month of offtake in order to service his obligation to the Ministry of Defence, which means he automatically exceeds his credit limit in month number 2, September, as an example. So come end of September, when the first 15.5 million is due, they already owe 32 million, for example. So then they pay the 15.5 million. But your Worship should also understand that with a credit limit, there's also a credit term. Because you get terms, you get 30 days after statement, which is 60 days. So that's why if the court can appreciate, sometimes on statements there's current, 30 days due, 60 days due, 90 days overdue, and then it goes like that. So which means when it comes to month number 2, on 60 days, when the first is due, it's already on over the credit limit. So you need to look it in conjunction with the credit term as well. And in NAMCOR's case, the anomaly was highlighted to the highest authority of NAMCOR Trading and the highest, which is the board, the trading board, and the highest authority of NAMCOR Holdings, which is the NAMCOR Holdings board. And then, if it's reported, and that is why sometimes you fail to understand, if something has been reported to the board, and they do nothing about it, and allow it to continue, what does that mean? They should have then said, stopped it when it was reported.
All right. Now, was NAMCOR the only client where credit was exceeded?
No, for Worship. There is many other clients that credit is exceeded because of this anomaly. And it was an acceptable practice at that time, because if your Worship would recognize that NAMCOR Trading has been operating for quite a number of years.
Mr. Willemson, can I just go to the...
Go.
Which companies do you know?
To be honest, Your Honor, I know about Irongo, NAMCOR. There were sometimes ad hoc customers like Bachmus, there's retail service stations. Because I don't deal with customers, I won't know NAMCOR's customers out of my head. But here and there can pick up due to some applications that came through the credit committee.
Where the credit was increased.
Yeah, where the credit was increased and the limits, and sometimes even the Husap mine, the Swakop uranium mine, increase it on a monthly basis, because due to the mining activities, you cannot just stop supply to the mine and incur damages if the mine runs out of fuel. You have to take other factors, like I mentioned previously. Executives has the role to look at the bird's eye view, because if a mine stops because of supply of fuel, just because they exceeded their credit limit, there's damages that can be claimed to the NAMCOR trading company for loss of production. So you need to balance sometimes certain decisions. And this is why it's called commercial transactions and not criminal transactions.
I see. Bishop, that concludes my questioning vis-a-vis the credit committee and its composition and or powers. My next area, as I indicated to the court, will deal with asset acquisition, which form part of the count 11, as indicated, alternative count 11, count 12, count 13A, alternative to count 13 and 16. It's maybe wise that the reason why I'm also referring to these charges, Your Worship, is that when the court have read these charges, obviously the court must keep that in mind when dealing with the asset acquisition, because those charges deal specifically with the alleged criminal activity vis-a-vis the asset acquisition. So if I may ask if we can stop there for today and then continue tomorrow. I know in terms of time, my learned colleague indicated to me 9. I know that the court has
I think we can commence at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think 10 o'clock will be
10 o'clock, okay.
no objection.
Okay, the matter is then adjourned to tomorrow. That is the 10th of September, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. for continuation of the bail application. Applicant, please take note that you're still under oath.
As the court pleases.
Accused is remanded, or applicant is remanded in custody.
As the court pleases.
We may then adjourn.
Okay.